And joining me now on this India Today special broadcast is Tuhin Sinha, national spokesperson of the BJP. Deepak Thimaiya is the spokesperson of the Congress. Also with me is Mr. Shashidhar Reddy, former vice chairman of the NDMA, and Mr. Shankar Vidri, former director general and inspector general of the police in Karnataka. Gentlemen, welcome on this special show. But I want to begin by asking you, Deepak Thimaiya, can the government actually get away by saying the capacity is 35,000. What can we do if 2 lakh to 3 lakh turned up? Isn't that the job of the government to ensure that adequate arrangements are made? Point one. And point two, why was it held the same day when the police said, hold it over the weekend, not immediately?
I think to say that, the government said, what can we do about it? Irresponsible, because I don't think the government would ever say, what can we do? They just said it was uncontrollable and it was tragic and something beyond the estimation. That is what it is. No government in Karnataka said that, it was not the government's job and the government is just from its responsibility, or it's just saying that, we have nothing to do with it. It is just that Karnataka has been a peaceful state and these things normally don't happen in Karnataka. So I think people in the government also expected this to just go on, because the previous night when the celebrations happened, well into 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in some places, there was no incident at all. People were celebrating so peacefully and happily, and you've seen the visuals themselves.
But people were peaceful even now. Are you saying that people broke peace and the government had no responsibility, so to say? Give me a moment as I try and reestablish that link with you, sir. But Tuhin Sinha, the Deputy Chief Minister, is accusing the BJP of doing politics over dead bodies. They say this is not an issue that should be politicized. The Chief Minister said, I wouldn't draw in a parallel with what happened at the Mahakumbh. The Congress is saying, did the Chief Minister resign there? Why is the Chief Minister's resignation being sought here?
Good evening, Gaurav. Good evening, everybody. Let me begin by paying my condolences to the bereaved families. The incompetence and the arrogance of the Karnataka government stands exposed over here. We are not playing politics, but simple questions need to be asked. This celebration happened against the advice of the police, which we are all aware of. Now, if the CM and Deputy CM were insistent on the celebration taking place in a hasty manner, the onus for ensuring security for all has to be on the CM and Deputy CM. That's point number one. Point number two, when you make it free for all, it's all the more important that you don't have the celebration in an enclosed space. If you remember, last June end, when India had won the T20 World Cup, and after which a procession took place at Marine Lines in Mumbai, the first thing which then Chief Minister Eknath Shinde and Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis did was to make sure that they were not a part of the celebrations. But here we have seen that DK Shivkumar went out of the way to continue with the celebrations even 45 minutes after the news of the first death came out. In fact, he was seen shoving one of the people in the stadium. If this is the attitude of the Congress party, I'm sorry, this is not politics. We are seeking accountability, and especially this is a Congress party which supported, the Telangana CM, which put Allu Arjun behind bars for a similar reason. So why should the CM and Deputy CM of Karnataka not face similar accountability?
Let me quickly see if I have Mr. Thimaiya to quickly respond to this before I bring in our other guests. Mr. Thimaiya, Deepak Thimaiya, want to quickly respond, sir?
Would be only as much as Mr. Vaishnav taking responsibility for the, train tragedies, or, Mr. Yogi taking responsibility for the Mahakumbh Stampede. But let me tell you, we are at least not running away from responsibility. We are trying everything possible for this to be investigated. And let me tell you, we would not like to politicize this at all, because we want even the BJP to get together, because it's not, like we don't know that the people who died, which party they belong to. We are saying that the people of Karnataka who have died, and we are very sad about it, and this should have not happened. We are are certainly taking every measure possible to find out that what led to this, whether it was a slap that collapsed according to some reports that you have seen, to whether it was irresponsibility of the police, to is it only because, the ministers got excited like any other people. Let me tell you, at that moment, after 18 years, I'm sure Mr. D.K. Shivakumar also, as a human being, he felt great about this thing. He wanted to celebrate along with the people, because you don't get elected to your post in isolation by aliens or whatever, that he wanted to actually,
You also
pass on the
highlighted
people
irresponsibility
and
of the police. I'd like you to elaborate on why you say irresponsibility of the police, but I also want to
I
bring
did
in.
not say, but to find out,
Sure. But what could have been
out. I
alleged
said to find
irregularity
out.
of the
One
police,
simple
as you say?
question.
Hold on. Let me bring in Mr. Bidri for more on this. Sir, as somebody who's headed the Karnataka police in the past, your appreciation, any part, was this irresponsibility of the police, as Mr. Deepak Thamaya seems to allege that there could have been irresponsibility of the police that needs to be investigated?
I did not.
We must understand that the matches were over by midnight on 3rd. By 7:15, a message was circulated on electronic media and WhatsApp that procession will be there at 2 p.m. Then players will land by special flight from Ahmedabad at HAL airport, and there will be a felicitation at KSCA stadium in the evening. Primarily, the most important person who has committed the mistake is that without the authority, without the permission from the competent authority, that is the Commissioner of Police, somebody has circulated this news and added to the enthusiasm of the RCB fans. Therefore, the crowds gathered, and even now I am convinced that prima facie, no permission has been taken under the Karnataka Police Act, either for the procession or the felicitation function. And the third most important mistake was that no unimaginably and extremely short time was given to the police to decide
Yes.
things, and without their concurrence, this program has taken place. Even then,
Without their concurrence. That's
1
a
minute,
very big
1
point you're
minute, sir,
making, sir.
1 minute. Even then, I am happy, I am proud that Bangalore police and government have managed more than 1 lakh crowd in front of Vidhan Saudha without any untoward incidents. So far
Yes.
as stadium is concerned, it was basically a mistake of the RCB managers that they spread confusion. First, they told that the admission is free. Then they told admission is by free passes. Then they told that free passes will be given at a particular counter. So the mismanagement, they played with the crowd, they played with the sentiment of the crowd, and became the cause of this great tragedy right in front of the gates of the KCA stadium. Police
Okay.
have, in spite of extremely short notice and with at a function without organized, without their permission, they have done extremely well. There is no point in blaming the police. There is
That's a
no
very
point
pertinent
in
point
the
you
government.
make there. But standard operating procedures, should they have been in place? Mr. Reddy, as former vice chairman of the
Actually,
NDMA,
one thing, I do agree that they should have put their foot down and decided to disperse the crowd. But the issue of dispersal of the crowd would have cost
yes,
much more heavily, because crowds had already gathered. If they had tried
absolutely.
to disperse the crowd by use of force, perhaps the death should have been 44 or 50, because
God forbid.
the fans
Yes.
were not in a mood to listen to anybody. Because of the situation was developed without their consent and without their knowledge, they had to manage the situation, and it is a prudent decision that they have not used force to disperse only
Sir,
on the
that's a
ground that
very pertinent point you make, Mr. Bidri. Let me also bring in Mr. Shashidhar Reddy into this conversation. Sir, without police concurrence, an event is organized in the state of Karnataka. Now, is this gross negligence? Is this mismanagement? Or is this unheard of?
Well, I think none of the agencies would have anticipated this kind of situation, but certainly there is a lapse. And then what I find is a clear lack of anticipative crowd management approach, both in terms of proactive crowd management and reactive crowd management strategies. The NDMA has had issued guidelines
Yes.
on crowd management, not just on crowd management. Every time there is a disaster, I've been on the electronic media several times. I find that there is nobody has looked at NDMA guidelines, and no state has done it in any seriousness. Now, the State Disaster Management Authority in Karnataka, by virtue of the Central Act, the chief ministers of the state are chairman of the State Disaster Management Authority. And I found that in Karnataka, the vice chairman is the revenue minister, and some other ministers are also part of it. At the national level, when I was the vice chairman, the prime minister was the chairman, and the day-to-day functioning, the authority was delegated to me, and we were full-time. Unfortunately, even though there is a shift in approach to disaster management, to both not just rescue and relief. In the pre-disaster phase, we have prevention, mitigation,
Yes.
and preparedness. And in the post-disaster management, rescue, relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. The government gets stuck with just rescue and relief. And there's nothing.
And then buck passing. And all they, indulge, I'm so sorry, sir, is passing the buck. But Mr. Thimaya, you heard Mr. Vidri, he's very clearly saying that police concurrence was not taken. Why would an event be organized without the police being on board? And this is like throwing the police in the deep end and letting them fend with the situation, sir, and fend for themselves.
Let me make it very clear, like what Mr. Vidri said. I'm sure that he's also not saying definitively that this the police's permission was not taken. I'm sure that you can't do anything without the police's permission. The police can't just start acting. But let me tell you, the police have to be prepared all the time. Mr. Vidri has been a very respected police officer even after his retirement. I'm sure his words are very valuable because he knows the city of Bangalore. He still lives here. But let me tell you, because Bangalore winning was also not planned. Most people did not even expect. They were just hoping. And Bangalore won. RCB won.
Sir, but then why hold it the same day? Hold it after 2 days. Hold it over the weekend. Why the same day, Tuhin Sinha? Isn't that the point that's continuously being raised? Is it for that selfie moment?
For it.
Well, that is exactly the point, Gaurav, which I am making. The first news of death
one by
had
one,
come
one by
out
one.
by
Okay, just give
4:45.
Mr. Thimaya 30 seconds to complete his point. Then I'm coming to you, Mr. Sinha.
Go
on, sir.
Let me tell you. Do you think that the whole city, or perhaps the whole state, has been in a state of frenzy? Do you think that the government can actually, like some people say, that the people, of course, extremely tragic and sad. Do you think, even like Mr. Vidri knows, that you could have cancelled the program? It would have been another disaster altogether.
No, but decided to be held after 3 days,
There
sir.
are so many things. People have the hope that something else happened.
Okay, Mr. Sinha wants to come in. Mr. Sinha, quickly respond. It's just the crowds, the frenzy led to the crowds emerging in larger numbers than anticipated. 3 lakh instead of 35,000.
It's basic common sense, Gaurav, that if you make it a free for all, in a place like Bangalore, which has a population of roughly 2 crores and a stadium capacity of 35,000, you always ran the risk of overcrowding. So that is no excuse. You can't blame it on the crowd. But my point is that the first news of death was already out by 4:40. Even if the event had to go on, it could have gone on in a somber way with condolences. You have visuals of the deputy CM celebrating. I don't know what his credentials are to, hold the trophy or to jostle and to show people away. It's the attitude of the Karnataka government, the CM and the deputy CM, which is under the scanner. For a Congress party, which applies a different bar to Allu Arjun, I think they need to rise to the occasion. They need to behave a little more responsibly. And unfortunately, so far, they have behaved in an absolutely reckless manner, even 28 hours after the incident.
Okay, reckless and passing the buck, but only 1,380 police personnel present, Mr. Vidri, that actually defies logic. Now, that's the information that's coming in. 5,000 initially we were told, but now information coming in, only 1,380 deployed and majority at VVIP gates. So while it was smooth sailing for the VVIPs, it's that common young man and young woman, the youngest being all of 13, who've lost their lives, sir.
I do agree with you. Only 1380 people were posted. You must appreciate that they had to do bandobast from HAL airport to West End Hotel, from West End Hotel to Vidhan Sauda, then in front of Vidhan Sauda. Total strength of the Bengaluru city itself is less than 16,000 force. So within that, they have managed very well. But the problem is the confusing directions given by the RCB authorities regarding pass, entry, etc. have created this problem. Number two, unimaginably short time given to the police. Number three, no time given to police to prepare. And the main culprit is the person who has circulated the news of this procession and public meeting at 7:15 a.m. He must
Yes.
be hanged. He is primarily responsible for all this.
Okay, Mr. Reddy, no ambulances or very few ambulances. People were being rushed, as you can see, on 5 people holding somebody, using, lifting them up and taking them, no ambulances. Does this not show very poor anticipation and management, sir?
Absolutely. That is what I said. The lack of anticipative crowd management approach. As a proactive management strategy, or also a reactive management strategy. This is precisely what I said earlier, and things could have been done better. The preparedness, mock drills. Who is assigned the responsibility to deal with different aspects in a situation like this? And this is something that keeps happening. And unfortunately, we don't learn from other experiences
Yes.
in other tragedies like this. And the documentation of what has gone wrong, whatever happens anywhere in the world, one has to learn from it and then see how such things can be prevented. A lot of things could have been minimized. The crowd, and first of all, the kind of frenzy that the whole thing has generated has been
Yes.
completely overlooked by the agencies. There were no inputs to this effect. Even in a place like Hyderabad, past midnight, after the match, long hours, long hours there have been celebrations. So number 18 winning the 18th edition of the cup, and the kind of following that the player like Virat Kohli has, this on the social media, a lot of hype has been created. So
no, that's what the administration should have anticipated. Can't grudge fans their happiness, as you rightly point out, sir. But the administration completely failed to do their job, whether here or in other instances. But I hope accountability is fixed and there's no buck passing on this. To all my guests, many thanks for joining me.